Hey, everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
It's time for a review of episode 3 of season 1 of The Penguin on HBO and Max. This is a Vic heavy episode, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think we were going to get this till way later in the season.
Yeah, this is Vic Begins.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if we were going to get the whole story in one episode. I figured we'd get like pieces of his story as we went. I was like, oh, cool. This is just the first part. No, they gave us all of it before the title card.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. That opening sequence shook me.
Oh yeah.
I like what a position to be in. Oh my God. To just know. Yeah. How are you feeling after that, Dan?
I mean, it was cool because when you watch The Batman, like you get the perspective of Batman watching this thing happen, but you don't get any on the street. You just see him watching this go on and then them reacting and then like the aftermath of what's happened.
You get what I like to call the Godzilla view, which is yeah, we're so high up and detached from everything that we're not getting the ground level emotional weight of what this is really doing.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. The idea that like you're parting with your friends and you left your family on not the best terms, and then they just get, drowned to death by this crazy man.
Wiped out.
Yeah. I thought it was really, like, I love when you kind of tell that story or you have that thing of like the random thing you were doing that kept you out of this bad situation. Like you were not running scared. You were not doing anything. You were just trying to get with this chick and hang out with her and go hang out with your buddies. And then tragedy strikes and you just happen to not be there. So I liked it. It is, like I said, that's something that, as far as the show is concerned, seeing that I think was really cool.
But there's also still, I think, a few pieces that are missing because there are some steps between the end of or the part where the water hits Vic's apartment and where we find him at the beginning of episode 1.
Yeah.
Like there's some different time. How does he wind up? Like, I mean, we get the idea that like this one dude's kind of a ringleader, and so it's possible he got roped into that in the chaos of, just being after the flood. But we also saw what happened to that other kid and who that other kid was that got taken out by Sophia at the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
Just kind of just tying off loose ends, it seems like, with all this who's this person, who's that person. There's really only one person still out there in the wings, and that's the problematic guy who showed up to the party unannounced. He is still out there somewhere, and that's we spent entirely too much time giving this guy a name and a backstory and a distinctive enough look for him not to come back and be a problem in the next 5 episodes.
Yeah. Hey man, what did I say last episode? In order for Penguin to succeed, like everybody in the show has to die.
And he was in, the relationship that Vic and Oz have in this I really love, and this is kind of the bulk of what we talk about this episode is that relationship between the two of them. That scene, we can go to the scene in the bathroom or the scene in the restaurant first. There are 2 scenes with Oz and Vic in this episode that are both just so telling in their own ways.
I mean, I think when I see this and put those 2 episodes together, you just have a guy who
2 scenes.
Is that what I said? 2 scenes? Yeah.
2 episodes.
Oh, 2 scenes. I'm sorry. When you put these
what
2
episode?
scenes, yeah. When you put these 2 scenes together, you just have like this guy who, in his heart, and I'm speaking of the Penguin, that he feels like he's giving this kid the chance of a lifetime. and he's going to back him up, and he's going to like, I'm giving you this money, I've given you this job, like you're going to be able to be more than you ever were going to be given your situation. And then when he does that whole like, do you think I kidnapped you? Do you think you're my prisoner? Like, why would you think you can go whenever you want? And then almost like you could see he's bothered when he leaves. And then when he comes back and he's just like, holy crap, you came back. This is great. So I think it really, you're unsure, especially after the end when he's like, go lay down, go see how this is. You know what? You messed up. This could have been, you kind of like, okay, so where does this kid stand with the Penguin? But in this episode, you really see like, no, this isn't like his lackey. It's like a protege. This is somebody he's trying to mentor to be better. And even though like what he's talking about is arguably good or bad, depending on your perspective on the world and life, I mean, what he's gone through in his life is that like, this is what you have to do to get by. You can't go to college and get a degree and make a living. No, you have to become a criminal. You have to take the things you need. You have to do this kind of underworld lifestyle to really get what you want to what the Penguin sees as success. Now, I don't know if Vic necessarily sees that. Like, Vic still has a bit of a moral compass, but it's slowly going away, especially as he just watches that chick board the bus and he's like, nah, it's okay. I'm going to go.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go with her to California. And then what?
Yeah.
Here, I'm making $1,000 a week driving around a gangster.
Yeah. And it's going to be.
And by the end of the episode, he not only sheds his enemy's blood for Oz, he sheds his own blood for Oz. Yeah. I mean, I guarantee the next episode, the conversation is going to be had of like you have shed blood for me 2 different ways in this 3 different ways if you count chopping up and getting rid of Antonio's body with the other Maroni's Falcone's body.
Yeah.
And so I gotta say that scene, both those scenes, I mean, like just with personal stuff and all that I'm going through, you know, like that this episode hit me in a lot of different ways, in a lot of ways that I wasn't counting on, that I'm just like, this show has no right being this this reverent, you know. Because somebody I saw somebody describe Deadpool and Wolverine like that, like it's an irreverent character making a very reverent movie, and that's kind of what this feels like. It's a very irreverent character, the Penguin, a very just kind of who the hell cares, and the points that they're making in this, you know, that scene where the waiter kind of tries to rush, not in a way that he was trying to be impolite or rude, but you know, help Vic get to what he's saying, but that way that Oz says, hey, you let him take as much time as he needs.
Yeah, we're not in a rush, bro. You're waiting on us, not waiting for us. Chill.
Yeah,
which he's totally right. Like you.
Yeah, it's. I guarantee that server was mortified on behalf of Vic in the first place. I'm sure in no way that server was judging Vic by any stretch of the imagination and thought he was just helping out. But it is that. But there is that, you know, as somebody whose therapist is constantly telling him to, you know, make sure you make people wait, you know, follow your timetable. You know, people are on your clock as much as you are on theirs. And Oz kind of giving Vic that same lesson of like, you know, you don't know this now, but you're going to get to the point where it's like people, you're not going to have to feel like you're holding people up by not getting to the point faster, saying what you need to say. You're going to be able to say whatever you need to say and take as much time as you need to say it. And people are going to listen.
Yeah. Just watch the first season of Daredevil, and bro, when you're big and in charge, people apparently will wait 10 minutes for you to send one sentence. I'm not bitter about it. Anyway.
not even at all. But also then you get into that scene in the bathroom when Oz thinks that he's just trying to skip out on him.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to skip out on it. And then he starts lashing, and then Oz gets defensive.
Yeah.
Oz gets defensive because he's already feeling a little defensive because of the scene that happens earlier with Johnny Vitti. We're going to get to everything, I promise, but I these scenes are just I want to
It's the
talk
meat.
about these scenes now. But like he's already riled up and feeling probably pretty still kind of insecure from earlier that afternoon, earlier that day with Johnny Vitti or whatever it was. And Oz is a guy who has had to, as we know, beg and scrape and work for what little he has. And he's had to do some things to people that he cared about that he is not proud of, as we start to find out by the end of this episode, or at least maybe.
Yeah.
That it's hard to say sometimes whether and when Oz is being genuine, outside of with his mother or Vic. But we know that like this is a guy who, as like you said, he sees in Vic as like a type of protege, and he sees so much of himself in Vic. And so when he thinks that Vic is, it's the classic case of, oh, you're trying to break up with me? No, I'm going to break up with you first,
Yeah.
or that you get so defensive that you start lashing out and making things worse. Like, oh, fine, you want to leave me because I'm so bad? Fine, I'll show you how bad I can really be. And it's toxic and it's awful and it's terrible, and don't do that. But that's exactly what happens. But it's very clear, like you said, when he's gone, he is devastated that Vic is gone, because he's just like thought there was somebody else like me.
Yeah.
But there is, kind of. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Really hard to say. But yeah, I could live in those two scenes. Like every time I watch an episode, one of these episodes so far, I'm just like, which one of these scenes is going to be the one that wins them the Emmy? I mean, come on, seriously. There's not enough awards to go around for everyone in the show.
Well, and the thing for me is, I told you on the phone earlier today, is like, I was about to be out on that show. I did not particularly care for the second episode, and I was like, I know we said we'd do this. I wonder if this next episode doesn't get me, I'm gonna have to talk to Mike about like, hey man, maybe we just do the season 1 review and not all of the episodes.
So hard. Fight you on that so hard.
But then this episode came out, and on top of these great scenes with Vic and all this stuff, like some of the stuff with Sophia, like the thing that I thought was really interesting is we find out she is not the hangman.
Mm-mm.
So there is a hangman out there,
which is not how I saw this going at all.
Well, I'm wondering if Penguin's the hangman and he pinned it on her. That he took people out so he could kind of go up the thing and then pinned it on her to get. But I mean, we also don't know what the hangman of this world did besides kill a bunch of people.
Yeah,
so it's hard to say.
Because the hangman in Dark Victory is so tied to Two-Face and Batman that this one seems to be completely independent of any of that.
Yeah, it's just a similar name. So that's I thought was interesting information. And then we find out why she doesn't like him. Like he, for lack of a better term, threw her right under the bus to make himself look good.
He sold her out to Carmine in such a way that I feel like we're going to see next episode. Because we know Mark Strong is in this episode, in this show, in flashbacks as Carmine Falcone. And so much of this episode ended with allusions to the past and ending so abruptly on that. I can 100% see this show saying, hey, now that we're at the halfway point, the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's also Matt Reeves. And so, who's to say? We got 5 more episodes to play with. We really don't. But yeah, you're right. We learned that not only is she not the hangman, but she is good at this.
Yeah.
And she loves it. Because we see her genuinely smile and laugh and even giggle a little with Oz when he and was like, enjoying yourself. She's like, don't.
Yeah.
It's like don't make me enjoy myself. Don't stop it. It's interesting, man. It's
Well,
real
and there
interesting.
even, if I'm correct if I'm wrong, there even seemed to be a hint of there may have been something between them. I mean, granted, she was young, but I'm yeah. I mean, it maybe it's just the acting. I have no idea, but it seemed like we were hinting
I don't
at
know. They're not
a
super clear on what Oz's age is.
correct. I don't
You
know
know
if
what I
we're
mean?
dealing with the Marion Ravenhood, Indiana Jones disgustingness, or
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
they. I mean, I don't know. It's good.
I don't know.
If,
I don't know. It's we're I feel like we're gonna find out sooner rather than later.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. Because she kept the fact that he was her former driver seemed to be kind of no pun intended, a driving point in this episode.
yeah,
Um, and we could also see that in bringing that up, that it was a great way for the show to remind us that, hey, Oz is still like playing her.
yeah.
This is still because he gives her that look of like, I can't wait till you find out how badly I'm screwing you two out of this whole thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of
uh
course we end well, where do you want to go next? I was about to
I,
skip to the end, but there's
I was gonna say, I mean, really, I think the real other big stuff that just needs to be, I mean, is just actually no, I think, well, I mean, the drug itself. This is not something out of anything, you know, and I mean, maybe shame on us for having expectations. I mean, I thought it was going to be some kind of DC Easter egg or whatever, and you know, it is not. I got nothing. We honestly don't even really. There's honestly nothing all that really special that we know about the drugs so far, other than it's just a great party drug.
yeah, that was used in Arkham for the on the patients there.
Yeah, specifically on
Yeah.
Sophia. So I wonder how much more of a role Arkham's going to play in this. And we know that Matt Reeves had bigger plans for like a GCPD Arkham Asylum show that got nixed, and they said that some of that stuff did get folded into this show through the writing and the filming process. So it could be that this is some of that worked in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm really curious to see if the drug itself does become more than just this, because if you think about it, the drops haven't really been
No.
a thing. Like, they've just been like, hey, there's this drug called drops, they drop it in their eyes. What does
Yeah.
it do? Gets them high. What is it like?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
uh
We can't
that's
say
kind of how
cocaine for some reason, so we're just going to use this as the drug.
I have ever since it became available for streaming, some of my favorite reactors have been putting up their reactions to Deadpool and Wolverine, and the endless cocaine jokes about how they can't have cocaine are just not, this is not related to the Penguin at all, but anyway, just make me laugh so hard. Yeah, for some reason cocaine's a big no-no with streaming and TV, and but we can do just about anything else apparently, including weird mushroom
Yeah.
fungus sport. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea. My only thing right now, and I kind of said this to Ryan, we're probably a little more than halfway through this episode. I'm like, I feel there's more going on in this show than I thought was going to happen. And
Yeah.
especially because I'm like, where's Batman?
That's that's something I noticed, because
Yeah.
there's a few times in the last couple episodes where we've heard people on the radio or on the news talking about, or just in conversations talking about, all the crazy things and people from the events of the movie, and they always mentioned the madman that blew up the city, the
Yeah.
seawall. Nobody mentions the masked vigilante out there, but I also feel like that might be by design. Because remember,
Yeah. I
that was
know.
kind of his whole thing at the end of the movie was, I need to not be something people are out there talking about like a problem. So it could be that while this is going, because also we do know that this is still only
2 weeks.
a couple of weeks removed from the end of the movie. We know that he has been aiding with the rescue and cleanup effort. So it could just be that he's just occupado.
Yeah,
I know it's,
I mean, I know.
I know it's a stretch. I know it's a stretch, but
I
also,
yeah,
who knows what the beginning of the movie is going to be like.
yeah.
Again, we could be like, this is, again, the movie's just going to pick up. We've talked about this before. There's not a lot of time coverage happening.
Yeah. So
So what is
yeah,
what's Batman up to? Probably not a whole heck of a lot, because not much time is really passing.
I know. It's just one of those, like, there's been too many weird things that have happened that Batman would have at some point being aware some weird crap is going on and been there. That's my only, and I know it's
I
hard because you're
disagree.
trying not have Batman in there, but you guys had an open gunfight during a drug convoy. Then this new drug gets introduced into this club. And I'm not saying like he should have suddenly been at the club, but I think I've got
Well,
about one more episode in me before I'm going like, all right, you need to give me something. Now you're right. It may not be till the movie comes out, but I need to understand why Batman's not all over this situation up to this point.
I think everything's, with the exception of that one singular, gunfight happening on the street, everything's pretty much happened behind closed doors or in a small enough capacity that's probably not on his radar right now. Again, like, everything from the end of the movie to like the first few minutes of the episode is established that, like, Batman's over at the convention center aiding with cleanup and rescue, and that he's, you know, he's waiting to see. I think, maybe I need to go back and watch the movie again. I almost feel like he's probably waiting to see who the next big mover is going to be to fill Falcone's spot. You know what I mean? So it could
Yeah.
just be he's just, because, again, from a 3-hour Batman movie, we know this is the Batman who's not going to make a move until he's ready to take him out. So odds are he's playing recon right now. I mean, we know full well that Batman got into Penguin's club 3 times and only once did he actually know about it.
Yeah.
So who the hell's to say, man? I honestly feel like that's kind of the point, you know? And again, like we mentioned and we talked about the first episode, the intro of the Batman Part 2 could very much just be, here's my next set of journal entries from everything from the last few
Yeah.
weeks. Here's what I've been up to.
Yeah.
And it could very well be like some, and like we said, it could just be a 30-second sum up of the Penguin season 1 from Batman's perspective.
Yeah. I finally found the source of this red diamond drug and I'm taking it down tonight.
Ta-da. Yeah. The beginning of the movie is the epilogue of the Penguin season 1. Ta-da, hire us, DC. Just
yeah. So we'll see. Like, that's my only kind of thing, is I kind of feel like
that's fair.
But at the same time, like, it's called the Penguin. They've already said he's not going to be in the show.
Yeah. I know. It's, well, I will say I was at least expecting, in every time I hear one of those like news sizzle reels or something in the show, or like when they show the scrolling thing at the bottom, I'm like, new rock stars. I'm like, just give me something, anything that suggests. It was like an Ant-Man when the one guy was, we had that one superhero that walks on walls and everyone's like, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm listening. I'm waiting. I know they're coming. Just needed to get here. But regardless, like I said, this show is the Penguin. I'm here for the Penguin. I'm also here for the more than 50% of you that are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, and I'm really not okay with that, and I'm really disappointed in you, and I'm gonna need you. Like what? Do you think I'm holding you hostage here? I'm not holding you hostage here. I want you to subscribe because you want to be here. Anyway, that I think is going to do it. I really loved this episode. Truly some of the best acting, I think, out of Colin Farrell in this show so far.
Yes.
The actor who's playing Vic, whose name I do not have up in front of me, absolutely loved the scenes of him, not so much being the silent analog for the audience, but really showing more of who he can be and who he is deep down. I can't wait for more of this.
Yeah. I think the big thing for me is, especially with the way this episode ended, I'm like, what the crap is happening next? You just ditched this girl. You spent 45 minutes of my time convincing this girl you were there with her and taking care of her. And then you just ditched her quick as all get out to save your own skin. I'm really curious how he's going to pull himself out of that nonsense.
Let us know what you guys think down in the comments, what you think we're in store for next week. We would love to know. Also, follow us on all social media at WATB Pod. Follow me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
Find me on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja.
And we will see you guys again next time for another review of The Penguin.